Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be another episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup. And in today's video of the Transfer Rumour Roundup, we have some obscene transfers which are currently going around the Championship. And it has been like a week or so since I did the last one of these. So we've also got some pretty massive completed transfers to also talk over. So let me know in the comments down below, what are your opinions of your team's current squad. Obviously, we only have about a week now, under a week actually, until the championship season does actually kick off. And I know a lot of you have been asking, but my week 1 score predictions will be coming out on Thursday at 4 o'clock probably. So that video will be out at Thursday at 4, so you got that to look forward to. But in terms of today's video, let's get into some completed transfers. So since the last video, Fulham have actually been quite a busy club in the transfer window. They've completed 2 loan signings, the first of which being Oliver Norwood. This one we did actually discuss the rumour in the last video, but he completed his move to Fulham on a season-long loan from Brighton. I think the holding midfielder, I think he'll be a good buy for Fulham this year. I think he fits into the way they play. He's very good on the ball, so I think he'll do well in distribution from the midfield area. He knows how to pass it very well. I think he showed that most of the time at his time at Reading, really. At Brighton he didn't really get to shine, but I think accompanied by other players Fulham have in midfield, Norwood will be a good player for them this year. And as well as that, they've also completed the loan signing of Thomas Callas from Chelsea, of course. This one to me, once again, is another massive one for Fulham this season. Last year he was a pivotal part of that defence Fulham had, and to get him back this season after it looked a bit doubtful at one point that they'd actually get him back. It looked like a couple of other teams may beat Fulham to his signature, but they have managed to get him back now, and I think for this season that will be massive for them. Sunderland are another club who has been quite busy actually since we did our last video. They've also completed 2 new signings, the first of which being Jason Steele from Blackburn Rovers. And once again, I wasn't really too sure about this transfer really, and of course they've lost Vito Manone, so to be replacing him with Jason Steele, to me that's a downgrade in my opinion. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think he really didn't have the best debut for Sunderland. He played in the friendly they had against Celtic where they lost by 5-0, so that's definitely not the best confidence booster going into the opening day of the season next Saturday. But in terms of Jason Steele, I'm not sure. He's still fairly young, I suppose, so he still does have time to improve, but in terms of a goalkeeper now for this season, I'm not too sure. They've also completed the loan signing of striker Lewis Graben, who is coming on loan from Bournemouth. Lewis Graben, last season for Reading, he managed to score 3 goals in 16 appearances, so not the best goal scoring ratio, but I think he's a solid championship striker. And then speaking of Preston North End, they have also completed the transfer of Darnell Fisher. He is arriving from Rotherham United, and I think it's fair to say the Rotherham fans weren't too keen on Darnell Fisher. I was looking over their Twitter feed of what they had to say about him when he did complete his move to Preston, and they really weren't too kind on him. You know, I think it's pretty fair to say it would be difficult for any player really to really shine in that Rotherham side, who were rock bottom of the championship for the entirety of last season. So I wouldn't really read too much into that. It's a new club he's coming into with new ideas, and he gets a fresh start in my opinion, so I'll give him a chance. Hopefully he'll be an improvement on Mount Vermeil. Another right back who has made a move in the championship has actually been Tendai Darikwa. He's moving to Nottingham Forest from Burnley and has signed on a 4-year deal. Now, in my opinion, this is actually a very good transfer for Nottingham Forest. I think in the Championship especially, Darikwa is an incredibly solid player, and right back seemed to be a position that Forest needed to strengthen in, and they've definitely done that with Darikwa. I think in the Premier League for Burnley, he was a little bit inconsistent, but his time in the Championship, I think this will actually be a very good buy for Forest. Norwich have made another signing. This time it's actually Adam Phillips, who was actually a free agent who was recently released from the Liverpool Academy, and so he has signed a long-term contract with Norwich City, the holding midfielder. And fun fact, actually, I actually went to high school with this guy, so it's good to see him doing well, and I wish him all the best at Norwich. Millwall have been a club who's been quite busy actually since my last video. They've completed the signing of Jake Cooper. He last season was actually loaned out to Millwall, played quite a few games for them last season, and I think overall this will be a pretty good signing for Millwall actually. And what they do seem to be doing, they've signed a couple players already who have championship experience, and this is another player like that. He's still only very young, but despite that he's already played over 50 games for Reading in the Championship. So taking all that into consideration, I think JT Cooper will be a good one for Millwall. And they've also completed the signing of Ryan Tunnicliffe as well from Fulham, and it was guaranteed that Tunnicliffe would be going somewhere. He was actually being linked to quite a few Championship clubs. There was up to 4 or 5 definitely who were interested, but in the end it has been Millwall who has reached his signature, and once again a pretty solid signing for the Championship. And Bristol City have also been fairly busy in the transfer window since my last video. They've completed the signing of Nathan Baker. He is of course arriving from Aston Villa after Villa have already signed quite a few centre-backs, so I think this could be a good move for both parties really. Bristol City seemingly in need of strengthening that position, and he wasn't going to be needed at Villa, so he could be a decent one for them. It's of course yet to be seen whether Aidan Flint is going to be staying at Bristol City this season, so Nathan Baker could actually be very important if that does happen. And then the final completed transfer is that of Ashley Fletcher. He is of course moving from West Ham to Middlesbrough for £6.5 million, which is a lot of money to be paying for a guy who hasn't really played that many games in his career. But Middlesbrough in this transfer window have just been going absolutely mental, but they've signed another striker. I'm absolutely baffled. Middlesbrough fans, who do you think will be starting up front for you on the first day of the season? Because your options going forward now are just obscene. I think you've got about six strikers, maybe even more than that, who are capable of leading the line. So where do you see Ashley Fletcher fitting into this squad under Gary Monk? So there were the completed transfers. If I did leave any out, let me know about them in the comments down below. But enough of that, let's get into some transfer rumours. So the first rumour to discuss is actually a very interesting one, and I think one thing that's fair to say is we have a lot of strikers to be talking about in this video here today, and the first of which is actually Danny Ings, who has recently been linked with a move to Fulham on loan. Apparently Fulham have inquired about his availability, and it is yet to be seen whether Liverpool are going to want to let Danny Ings go out on loan. Obviously they have other options there going forward now, and his injury record for Liverpool really hasn't been great, so a loan move away from them would be understandable. The only stumbling block I do see in this is that if Liverpool were willing to let Danny Ings go out on loan, there have also been some Premier League clubs who have been interested in him as well. Newcastle reportedly were another side who were interested, so that could be a bit of a tough one for Fulham, but if they were able to pull this transfer off, that would be a phenomenal one for the Championship. Another striker being linked to a Championship club is Nahki Wells, of course, the Huddersfield Town striker, currently being linked with a move to Reading, and the fee currently being talked about is around about £10 million, so definitely not a cheap one for Nahki Wells, but I think he'd be an excellent buy for Reading, really. In my opinion, they are in need of a striker like that. I mean, they've already got Bud Vartan in this window, and they've got Jan Kermigan as well, but no one really that can really stretch the line like Nahki Wells. His pace going forward, accompanied with players out wide like McCleary, would be absolutely fantastic for Reading, and if they were able to get that transfer over the line, they'll be a very successful one, and maybe even then they really will be pushing for the top 6 again. Reading will also be linked with a move for Sone Aluko of Fulham. Now reportedly Fulham have actually turned down quite a few bids for Sone Aluko in this transfer window, so it's obviously that there is interest in him from quite a few clubs. They'll be very keen to keep hold of him, I'm sure, because last season he was a very pivotal player for them. Before we get on to the next transfer rumour, I must quickly apologise for the lighting in this video. It's probably been very inconsistent. The reason that is I'm recording this at a really bad time, really, when the sun's like going around the sky, so the lighting in my bedroom at the moment is absolutely all over the place, so I apologise for that if that has been a bit annoying in this video. But talking about the next transfer rumour, that is another massive one going around the Championship at this point in time, and that is Andre Gray, who is being linked with a move for £20 million, which is huge figures to be talking about in the Championship. But with Wolves, they've already shown in this transfer window especially that they are capable of bringing in a player like Andre Gray. If anyone wants to do it in this window, it would be a team like Wolves. But 20 million is no easy feat for the Championship. But looking over, I suppose, what some of the other clubs have spent, like Middlesbrough especially, it might not be a bad transfer. I mean, Andre Gray in the Championship, in this Wolves side as well, would absolutely rip it up in my opinion. Well, his last season in the Championship with Burnley, he managed to score 23 goals, so with Wolves, he'd be on fire. Another striker being linked with a move for £20 million is actually Abel Hernandez, who is being linked with a move to Birmingham. Once again, for £20 million. This is just ridiculous figures for the Championship. But his last season in the Championship with Hull, he did manage to go ahead and bag 20 goals. So he's definitely a striker at this level who is capable. Hull, of course, will be desperate to keep hold of him because, like I said, he probably is going to want to be their talisman this season. But if Birmingham are interested, who knows what could happen. Birmingham as well are still pursuing the move for Preston striker Jordan Hugill. Apparently they are set to actually go ahead and put in a second bid for him. Of course, their first bid of £2.5 million was rejected. The second bid is believed to be around about £4 million. So Preston fans, would you accept £4 million for Jordan Hugill? Let me know down below. Nottingham Forest are being linked with a move to Gary Gardner. Of course, the Aston Villa holding midfielder isn't really needed at Villa, so once again, this could be a move which suits both parties. And Leeds United are a team. Once again, some of the strikers being linked to the Championship are mental at the moment, but this one really does just make it obscene. Leeds have been linked with a move for Alvaro Negredo. What is going on in the Championship at the moment? I just don't know. But he is 31 years old, so he is definitely on the older side. They're being linked with a move for him for around about £6.4 million. So it's not cheap for a pretty old player, but overall, Negredo in the Championship would just be unfair. It would be ridiculous. I mean, this guy's played in like Champions Leagues. He's been like Man City's top scorer in the Premier League not too long ago. It would be obscene if Leeds were able to pull off this transfer, but with the way Championship clubs are going at the moment, nothing would surprise me. Reading have had a bid rejected for Bacuna of Aston Villa, of course, a very versatile player for Aston Villa. They apparently had a bid rejected of £1.5 million, so they will need to raise the stakes on that a little bit more. I think he's a little bit of a hit and miss player at Villa. Some fans seem to like him, some fans really don't seem to like him, but I think at Reading, because of how versatile he actually is, he'd fit into a Yapstan team. Johan Giroud is being linked with a move for Sheffield Wednesday, of course. The former Arsenal defender is currently being linked with a move to Wednesday, and this once again would actually be quite a good transfer for Wednesday in my opinion. I think he's currently playing for Hamburg in the Bundesliga, and Sheffield Wednesday definitely in need of bolstering their defence, and have been quite a quiet side in this transfer window actually. They've only signed George Boyd so far, and defence is probably their biggest concern going into this season. Centre-backs especially, they need to strengthen, and probably full-backs as well, but this one might not be a bad one for them. And then the final transfer rumour to go ahead and talk over is that of Omar Bogle, who could be on the move to QPR. Now, there are quite a few Championship clubs who are apparently interested in Omar Bogle, but the strongest link at the moment is that to Queen's Park Rangers. QPR fans, would you like to see Omar Bogle come to QPR? He didn't really have the best of times at Wigan. I think his goal scoring record in the Championship wasn't brilliant for Wigan, but from seeing him play a couple of times, I think he has the potential to be. I think if he gets the right amount of service, he could be a deadly striker in this league. I think he's very powerful, very raw still. He does still need to be adapted. Maybe his finishing needs to be touched up a little bit, but if you can get him playing right and get him the service, Bogle will be a deadly Championship striker. So there you guys have it. That will wrap it up for this episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup. So if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for regular Championship content, and leave in the comments down below how confident are you feeling going into the first day of the season with your current squad. Do you think your squad still has massive gaps you need to fill, or are you pretty confident going into this one? So like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. So make sure you do check out all of your links in the description down below. Make sure you drop me a follow on Twitter, as I always tweet before I upload the video. Therefore you'll never miss a video ever again, guys. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.